He doesn't know what he's doing. Paging John Henderson.
So we live. Welcome back to Live at the Range. I'm John. This is Ron. As you know us, Ron's got a nice toy here in his hands, the Ruger PC carbine.
With the optional pew-pew.
With the optional
suppressor.
silencer on the
Pew
end of
pew.
it. So, absolutely. So
That thing-
9mm.
That thing's cool, isn't it not?
Yeah, the takedown on it is what's so cool. You gotta have.
Well, I gotta have the bolt back.
Takedown on it is so cool because you can put it in your bag.
Boom.
It's so
That's it.
easy. So
Look at that,
convenient.
even with a can on it.
Yeah.
See that?
So.
I like
This one uses Smith & Wesson magazines. No, Ruger mags. Sorry.
It comes with a Ruger mag.
Mm-hmm. You know what'd be really cool is if it could use this mag right here.
So would you buy it if it did?
I'd buy it in a heartbeat if it used
Sold.
a Glock mag. So.
Sold. Comes with an adapter. We'll use our Glock
Interchangeable
magazine.
mag well. That's right. That's awesome. And it comes with it in the box, right?
Yep, comes with it.
So I guess the only thing that we could do to make it better was if it had Glock on the side of it, right?
I don't know, I like Rugers.
It's a good little gun. It's a
This
good little
is
truck
cool.
gun, fun
Hey, Sam.
gun. So.
Put this in my office. have you seen the stack of guns in my
Stack
office?
of guns in your office. Is that where all the guns went to? So.
Yeah, the Rattler's in there. that 590 mag-fed pumps in there. Hi, honey.
Yeah, the 590 pump, the
Welcome back.
870 pump. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys holding down the fort. Thanks to Phil for filling in for a couple weeks. So.
I get it. Did you just come up with that?
Yeah, actually I did. That's pretty sad, isn't it? So.
I like it.
That's better than anything else I got. Keep in mind I have little kids at home.
So for those watching, we have removed the chairs for this episode, so there won't be any John's leg jonesing. So give us a thumbs up if you like that.
Can't promise anything about the pin or
Yeah. We're just
something
gonna
else,
move
so
the
we'll see.
motion.
So, sorry, I suffer from restless leg syndrome.
So what's going on, man?
It's mayhem.
Still
Lots
mayhem.
of stuff going on. Summer finally came here. It was nice of
Good
spring to sort of
gosh.
phone in spring. We went from winter to 3 days of spring, and now we're into
90
summer. So.
some degrees, breaking
But it
records.
is nice that it's not winter, so I'll take it.
Yes,
So.
agreed.
So it's mayhem. So we've got lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, we got, you want me to do that?
Yeah, hit it.
You good? First thing I want to talk about, and it's going to come up in our classes, but is it the 23rd? I think it's the 23rd.
23rd of May.
23rd of May, we're doing a free clinic, and Mr. Chris Cox is going to be here.
Esteemed attorney Chris Cox.
It took us a while to find the right word.
The rest of them we couldn't say.
The rest
on
of them we
Facebook,
can't say
so.
on Facebook Live. Well, we can't, but other people might. No, Chris, great guy, gun guy. He's a member here. We do some work with him. Just top notch, knows what he's talking about, very competent, very easy to talk to. We're going to do a free clinic and let you visit with an attorney who is going to specifically talk about firearms and the law and use of force law, castle doctrine. We'll touch on all those things. And then even talk about your interaction with law enforcement should something happen.
It's really important to keep in mind if you ever have to use a firearm, whether you discharge it or not, there's going to be stuff that happens afterwards. Obviously, if you end up having to shoot the bad guy, that's a whole different scenario.
Right.
So how you interact with police really sets the tone for how everything's going to go after that. So opportunity to pick a lawyer's brain without having to pay lawyer fees.
Yep.
So.
And we're not going to do it. I mean, we could do a 1 week seminar on this thing, really. But we're going to spend about an hour and a half, and afterwards you'll have an opportunity to ask him a few questions. We'll have some water and some little refreshments there for you, but you do need to register to attend. And you go to therangeSTL.com/training and look for it in the May tab, and then get yourself registered.
Free clinic, correct, Phil?
Yep.
Free clinic, and this we're going to do that every month, and this one is on use of force.
Yep.
So.
And we have a limited number of seats left. We've got a number of people that have already registered. Definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think it was a little over half full this morning, so there's still some room in that. There's another 10 or 12 seats. Next month, we're going to have a local police officer come in and talk about some of the basic things you can do for home security.
Love it.
As part of the free
For
clinic.
free.
So we'll cover that in future episodes.
Yep. Also part of the mayhem, we like our college grads. So if you are a college grad, or you know a college grad, or you've got one in the house that you're trying to get rid of, send them down here to the range. because we are offering a promotional 90-day membership that's available just to new college grads. If you graduated in 1989, you don't qualify. If you just graduated from college, come see us. You can get a 90-day membership for $60.
Yep, for $60.
And you know what? Getting them, I mean, what a great value, you know. And I've got kids that age, you've got kids that age. The fact that they can come in here and actually spend some time training, learning about firearms and how to take care of themselves.
And hey, they could even hang out with Ron.
Or the beard.
We'll
put
let
them in
you
touch
pick.
with the beard.
So.
So take advantage of that. And then if for those of you who are members, and if you're not a member, you can become a member. We got a bunch of options for you there. Anywhere from $25 a month on up as far as becoming a member here at the range.
It's even less if you're a first responder.
First responder,
Yep.
veterans.
Yep.
You know, we offer special veterans discounts and packages for our range members as well. But for those who are members here at the range, we're running a special all month. Any 115 grain full metal jacket, 9mm, 50 round count box, $10.99.
Yep.
Yep. So make sure that you're taking advantage. And that's if you just come in to use the range and you're a member and you need some ammo, $10.99 a box. If you want to buy 1 box or 10 boxes, we don't care.
Absolutely. Can't buy it by the case.
And that's just something that we do every month. We do a little something special just for our members to say thank you. And thank you for your support, and keep them coming back in so that they train with their stuff.
Yep, we want you using it. So.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about training and events coming up, because this weekend is the Springfield Armory Missouri State Indoor Carry Championship.
That's going to be awesome.
So
you want to see how the IDPA event, you want to see what it looks like for when the pros run these things, what fast looks like, come down here to that thing.
So it's really cool to watch it happen. Some really good shooters. We've also got some more amateur level shooters as well.
They've got different divisions.
Different divisions. You can compete either way. You're going to shoot a lot of ammo that day. We're operating 2 bays.
Is it sold out?
So it's not sold out. There are about 7 seats.
I think 5 or 6 seats.
5 or 6 seats.
Sam's telling me there's 5, 6 seats left in it. It's limited to 50 people. That's just a capacity issue with getting that many people through in a day. So on Saturday, we will only have 1 bay available for open to the public.
For open shoot, yeah.
As well as Friday, because we'll be setting up Friday.
Yes, Friday afternoon as well, same thing, because we've got to set up the other 2 bays for the scenarios for Saturday. So Friday afternoon, Saturday, if you're coming in to just shoot, please come on out. If you want to call ahead and see what wait times are, we'll be happy to put you on the list ahead of time. But just be patient with us, because it's going to be a busy, busy day Saturday.
And if you're a Range Plus member, you can make a reservation. So
Yep, absolutely.
keep that option. All right, other classes we got going on. So I'm going to shoot through these. Pew,
Roll.
pew. I'm going to pew through these real quick. We got a basic handgun course on May 21st, CCW on the 22nd, and then the free clinic that we talked about on the 23rd. Defensive handgun 1 on the 24th. A carbine 1 course, which I actually took from Dustin. He does a great job with it. That's going to be on the 29th.
So let's back up. So you learned something from Dustin.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
It's
So-
interesting in that carbine course and even the handgun courses, how much the military is beginning to adopt some of the things that the pro shooters do.
Well, see, this is good,
The
because I
competition.
didn't know you were still teachable. So I'm going to have to talk to Dustin and congratulate him on that. So.
That's a whole nother
All
offline
right.
conversation. I am teachable.
So, but yes, used to the civilian world was very influenced by what went on in the military. And you
It
are
still
correct.
is.
I mean, there is to a
Yep.
certain extent, but a lot of what the military is adopting has been developed in the civilian world. Now, a lot of it's been developed by prior law enforcement and prior military, so they've got that background and experience, but it's interesting to see that stuff get integrated back into the military once it's coming to the civilian world and be changed. So it's one of the things that's changed in the industry over the past 10, 15 years, so great to see that.
So go online. It's therangestl.com/training. Choose the month of May. You can see all the classes that are there. You can register online. You can always call us, 636-220-1300. Stop by the store, 14803 Manchester Road here in Baldwin. Happy to help any way we can. But
Absolutely.
train. Fun.
That's right. All right, so let's talk about some of the stuff going on in the news. As always, there's never a lack of stuff to discuss. But we're going to hit you with a couple of things you may not know about in in this episode.
Being hidden
yeah.
or not reported.
It's just not being publicized as well as we thought. But let's start at the top. Let's start with the
our favorite retail,
our favorite
sporting goods store,
former retailer of firearms,
Dick's
Sporting Goods.
Yeah, I read a really interesting article. Well, we talked last week about the fact. Was that just last week, Phil, that we talked about the fact that Springfield Armory cut them off? They're not selling them guns anymore.
And then National Sports Shooting Foundation cut them off.
Mossberg has cut them off.
Cut them off.
And High Point.
High Point.
I love it. And then there was an article written that I read about a guy that visited a Dick's over in Champaign, Illinois.
Okay.
My old stomping grounds over there. He said it was like a ghost town, like The Walking Dead. You know, there was nobody around. The people that were there were kind of standing at the counter wiping the glass, and you know, he said it was just.
Well, part of
that
that may be a little bit the summer season, but I guarantee you there's a big chunk of it is people just choosing to spend their dollars elsewhere. Because when it comes down to it, there are other retailers out there, whether it's an independent retailer like we are, or whether it's another chain store, that do legitimately support the Second Amendment and aren't going to roll over and give in to all the political pressure that we see going on nowadays.
Yep.
And when it comes down to it, you can't give in to the pressure, because the pressure will never go away. They're always going to want more and more. The end game for the anti-gun group is complete confiscation. If
Absolutely.
you're a civilian, you just don't get to have one, period.
I think that's a great point. It's not we just want to take these guns away. Their end game is we want.
Well, they'll tell you, oh, it's just about this, but that's not the whole story. So.
Death by 1,000. So if you're a Dick's employee looking for a good place to come
we're
visit
always
with
looking
us.
for good people.
We're looking for good people. I don't know that. So.
Well, we're trying to upgrade.
Yeah. better. So let's talk about what's going on here, specifically at home. Heard on the news, the St. Louis homicide rate has gone up.
Unfortunately, yep.
I did a little bit of cursory research on that this morning. Always a bad thing. I'm not trying to minimize the importance of this issue because it's extremely important. But I did notice that it seems to me that a number of those are related to what I would call nefarious activities. You know, when you see...
Well, let's look at it. Majority of homicides.
Well, it's a nefarious activity anyway, right?
You know, there's a huge chunk of it that's criminal activity. Right?
That's right. So, well, when you see that something happened at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? That's like, well...
What did your father used to say? Nothing good happens after midnight,
after
right?
10.
After 10.
So that is unfortunate, but I think it's just another testament to the fact that you need to be prepared to take care of yourself.
That's right.
You know, because there was a guy actually here in St. Louis, I think just a couple of days ago. Guy came up to him, give me your wallet, give me your stuff. The guy said, no, I'm not giving you my stuff. And guess what happened?
Shot him.
Shot him. Yeah. Shot him twice. Shot him in the chest, shot him in the neck. The guy has survived. Apparently he's in critical stable. And then rummaged through his pockets and took his stuff anyway afterwards. So
I mean, what kind of person does that? I'm just going to.
That's not a person, right?
Just ridiculous.
I mean, I know that we all make mistakes, but that kind of thing is just not acceptable. I call them oxygen wasters. They're wasting my oxygen.
Now, kudos to the gentleman for standing up, but you also have to be prepared for what happens when you do that.
If you're going to stand up, you need to be able to defend yourself.
So believe it or not, Illinois is back to doing something crazy again with gun legislation.
I need to read more on this. I hate talking about stuff that I'm not super familiar with, but I swear that I heard on the radio this morning that and we've talked about this before, Illinois wants to pass a law requiring you to have an Illinois license in order to sell a firearm.
Yeah, basically it's sort of like a state-issued FFL.
Right.
In addition to your federally issued FFL.
Well, and that, you know, they want to eliminate the person-to-person sale. And look, I grew up in Illinois, Southern Illinois. Love the people over there. But this is a flat-out attempt to circumvent our rights that we already have and generate revenue for the state.
Well, this law already passed. It went to the governor.
Governor vetoed it.
And the governor vetoed it. So they have reintroduced it.
They're going to reintroduce it.
And they're trying to get it through with I guess a veto-proof majority so that they can override
I can't believe he vetoed it.
But there's other requirements here. There's things about filming, storage requirements for guns. There's fairly on the retailer to actually be able to have a license. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to run smaller licensees out of business. Now, will the Cabela's be able to comply with whatever new law they have? Of course, it's Cabela's, right?
Yeah.
But the small independent or the mom and pop, they may not have the resources to comply with all
Yep.
the requirements, because it's not just, yeah, send in $20 and get your license. There's a whole set of requirements that comes with it of what you have to do. You have to be open to inspection by the state and a lot of other things. So, it's ridiculous.
So move to Missouri, right?
So, well, just vote in Illinois and get these people that are trying to do this.
I
out
like
of
that
office
even better.
So that
Hey.
you can move on to stuff that matters. That's
you-
going to make a difference.
Yeah. You weren't here when we talked about this, but there are a number of counties in Illinois that have decided to be sanctuary gun owner counties.
I love it.
You need to read up on that.
So-
Watch last week's episode. We talked about that.
Yeah, I've seen that occur on a couple of different topics throughout the country in different states, because the California cities being sanctuary cities are laying groundwork, and it's being co-opted by some other good causes. So that's
Yeah. Well, bottom line is,
pretty
how in the world can you claim sanctuary status, which means that law doesn't apply to me, and not apply that to every law that you declare sanctuary status
theoretically
for?
you can apply it to any law. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh wait, we're using logic. So don't do that. All right, so next story is a great story. Why don't you tell us this one?
Let's
And
do
this
that one
again
last.
you wanna
Let's do that one
All right.
last, because I think he
All right.
should be your hero.
Oh,
And
he's
actually,
definitely the hero for this
so-
week.
The Memphis, Tennessee, guy comes out of McDonald's carrying his kid, going to his car in the parking lot. Car pulls up, 4 guys jump out, start beating him up, trying to rob him. Guy sets his kid down, fights with him, produces a firearm, 4 shots are fired, hits one of the guys. They take off immediately, drop off their wounded buddy at the fire department down the street, and keep going. So this guy
But the
was,
man and baby are safe.
everybody's good. Everybody's good.
So again, did what a father's supposed to do. He's protecting his children.
But-
Had to use a firearm. Now let's imagine he didn't have that firearm. Okay, the anti-gun people get their way. He doesn't have that firearm. Those 4 guys are going to beat him up, and
Yep.
who knows what the end result is.
You saw the
Yeah,
LA riots.
so-
There wasn't a gun used in any of that video that I
So-
saw, them stomping people's heads.
Yeah. So again, right there, a gun equalized that situation. It's 4-on-1,
Yep.
and unless you are just a superstar self-defense, martial arts, MMA type fighter, you really don't have much of a chance against 4 attackers 4-on-1.
no way.
Okay, it's a rare individual that can overcome that on a consistent basis. But that firearm completely equalizes the playing field. It doesn't matter if you're a father protecting his baby, or if you're a 110-pound female walking through her car in the parking garage
Yep.
downtown
Absolutely.
at 10 o'clock at night. That firearm is an equalizer, and that's why we do what we
Yep.
do here at the range every day.
Yep. So kudos to him.
All right, last one, again from across the river. So Dixon, Illinois High School, they've got a gathering of all the seniors in the gym, I believe it was,
Yep.
gymnasium. It's a graduation event, and a gunman comes in with a firearm.
Actually fired a couple of rounds in the
So-
hallway heading to the gym.
Yep. So guess what? He gets engaged by a good guy with a gun. In this case, it was the school resource officer that engaged him, Mark Dallas, and shot the bad guy.
Actually chased him out of the school, was pursuing him outside of the school. He turned around to shoot at the cops, so the cop said, okay, I can play.
Yep. And the bad guy gets wounded. He's in the hospital.
Yep.
I guess he's going to recover from that.
He's
But
the only one. that
only
got
one
hurt.
that was injured in that incident, because there was a good guy, there was a sheepdog there to run off the wolf. And that's exactly what happened in this
Yep.
case. So kudos to Mark Dallas. You're definitely our hero for
Absolutely.
this week. We really
Well
appreciate you
done.
doing what you signed up to do, what you were trained to do, and you got to put yourself in that situation. What would you do? That's up to you as an individual, but you can't let these people just have unfettered access to people who have no ability to defend themselves. So
Great. Hey, you know where I found out about that?
where's that?
Was
Wait,
it?
CNN,
It was, no,
ABC, NBC, MSNBC,
no.
Bloomberg,
It actually was on Fox's
BBC.
page.
It was on Fox?
It was on Fox's page.
Our local Fox 2 News?
No.
here? Fox News National?
Mhm.
That's interesting. So not very well publicized that occurred.
How many, I shared that with a number of people in here today, and I was the only one that knew.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing that happens. So if that guy had actually gone into the gym, the school resource officer wasn't there, and he had ended up injuring or God forbid,
Yeah.
killing other folks, that would have been all over the national news.
Yep.
The fact that it
How
was
bad
stopped,
guns are.
0, because again, it's a gun that was used to stop that situation. So,
All right, good
all
job.
right. So again, Mark Dallas, thank you. You're our hero this week. So, you doing a rant? Do you have a rant? Oh, come on, you always have a rant. We'll save it to the end. You can rant at the end. Or else I'm going to rant about how you don't have a rant.
I'm good with that, too.
All right, so let's do, what are we doing now? Well, yeah.
Come on, Van.
So we got a couple of firearms here, as you can see. This is the SIG We the People model 1911 45 ECP. This is a Ruger GP100. Both fantastic firearms. We're going to do a little bit of show and tell and just sort of go over the proper grip on holding both a semi-auto and a revolver.
Yep.
So,
Well, that's one of the number one things. We see it every day, right? A guy comes to the counter and says, I need my sights adjusted. My
Right.
handgun's not shooting
We
well.
do this multiple times a day.
And we always, and we're not trying to talk about how good of shots we are, but it's just that proper technique makes all the difference in the world. And we say, do you mind if I shoot the gun first? Or somebody shoots the gun first, just to make sure they're getting the same result before
Right.
we actually make any modifications to the firearm. And inevitably, 90% of the time we take that firearm downstairs and properly grip, properly stand, properly use the sights, and the firearms function perfectly. So the number one thing that I see from people that come to the range, want to shoot gun, is they're not, shoot a handgun specifically, they don't understand the proper grip.
Right.
You know, years ago it was, I'm gonna just demonstrate this, show clear.
Clear?
Years ago, and this is how I learned to shoot, you did that teacup, right? You put that hand down there to
Yeah, that's
support
like
it.
60s.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
yeah. Miami Vice.
Right after muskets, you know, so.
You see that Miami Vice look? I should have a big old shoulder rig in it. So, but
So,
that's
well, hang on. Interesting fact here. That most people think that Don Johnson carried a 1911.
no.
on
It
that
was.
show.
It was.
What was it?
It was a. Was it like a 10 millimeter or
It
something?
was a 10 millimeter. It was a Bren 10.
Bren 10. Yeah.
Yep. And it was, you know, looked a lot like a 1911 on the outside, but it was a single action
Yeah.
10 millimeter. So.
Bren 10. Anyway.
Sorry,
so-
useless trivia you'll never need.
So the days of the old teacup grip are gone. There is a much better way to do that, and we wanted to just kind of, since now we can actually, people
Yep,
can see what we're doing, just kind of do a visual
We'll start
demonstration
with
of
this
proper
here.
grip.
Just-
Clear?
All right, man, this is nice.
Show that. Put that up in front of the camera. Let
So
them see
this
that
is the
thing.
SIG. This is the SIG We the People.
Can you see that? Okay,
Is that good,
Phil?
Phil?
Does he need to zoom in a little?
This is a SIG We the People. It's got this hammered finish on it. It's got 13 stars on the top here, 1776 on the side of it. It says We the People on the side
Show
here.
them the grip too.
Flip it around here. Look at the stars for the grip. It's just it's a nice
I
looking
love that
gun,
gun.
and it just feels nice when you pick it up too. So, so we'll do that. So I'll come over here. We're going to use this direction for downrange. So,
Okay.
so proper grip. First thing you always want to make sure you've got your finger stays off the trigger, stays indexed. Whether you put it up on the frame or on the trigger guard, I think is more of a personal choice. You want a high grip. This beaver tail here, you want the web of your hand up into it, nice and tight. Good firm grip. Again, not a death grip. If you're causing muscle tremors from gripping it so hard, then you're holding it too tight. So that's your proper grip with a single hand. When you take your offhand, you want to take the meat of your offhand and put in this open space on the grip between your fingers and the base of your thumb on your primary hand. You lay that in there so it's actually on the grip. Fingers wrap around the front, and then your thumbs sort of lay down pointed forward. Okay? Whether you put your offhand thumb up here on the frame, a little bit lower, it's really a personal choice. It needs to be out of the way of your trigger finger. You don't want it interfering with that. But also be careful that you do not want this to be up on the slide. Not because there's a lot here on the slide that's really going to tear my thumb up. That could happen on certain guns. But I don't want to slow down this slide. I don't want to rob energy from that slide's momentum when it's coming rearward to eject the spent casing and load a new round. So you get that in there, the thumbs are forward, place that thumb out of the way, and then you can present the pistol with a proper stance and start putting rounds down range. This grip lets you recover for second shots, gives you a really good stable platform. The gun's going to do all the work. The gun's inherently accurate if it's a good firearm. We usually induce the error from movement in it. So again, get those hands mated together so they're acting as one piece, Make sure you're indexing that trigger finger. And these fingers, again, are not a death grip, but it is a firm grip. If somebody tried to take the firearm from me, I can resist that. But again, I'm not squeezing so hard that I'm inducing tremors when I hold the firearm. And that's the basics, as Phil would teach it, or Dustin, on how to hold a semi-auto. And again, that's the majority of what we do here is semi-autos, but lots of folks still train with revolvers. I train with my little stub nose a couple times a year just to keep familiar with it. I also have one of these Ruger GP100s, which is a great gun too. I shoot it as well. But my primary guns are going to be semi-autos. So you got more questions about this, just call us up at the range, 636-220-1300. Sign up for, would that be Defensive 1, Phil? Or would that be basic handgun?
Basic handgun, we cover
so
all
basic
those.
Handgun, we cover that in depth. And you'll have a solid foundation after you do that. Or if you're in shooting and you just can't seem to get that accuracy down, or you're consistently getting tight groups but you're off target, come and ask one of us. We'll get one of the instructors to help you out and try to identify what you're doing incorrectly there. So
absolutely.
You tell them if they've taken our basic pistol class, to post a comment about what they thought of the class, how much fun they had, especially if it was with me.
So yeah. So if you didn't hear Phil, he's saying for everybody that's taken his basic pistol course and loves him, you can post comments.
Post comments.
If you didn't like him, no comments. So if there are no comments, we'll know what happened. How's that? So, if there's only one comment, we'll know what happened.
In all seriousness, we constantly look for your feedback. We want to know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, what we can do better, because we want to make the experience for you at the range, whether it's coming to shoot, whether it's buying a firearm, whether it's taking one of our classes, or whether it's just hanging out and shooting the breeze on what's the latest cool thing out there. We want that to be a good experience for you. So please feel free, leave us comments, give us feedback.
Amen.
All right.
Well, the grip applies pretty much identically to the revolver. You will have a couple of little caveats. Clear. Part of the caveat is, and this is a full size, whether it's a full size or if it's a little snub nose 2 1/4 inch barrel, still has the same mechanics. The difference over here, John's in the way. Difference is, you notice that typically on a revolver, you're going to get more wrap from your fingers on the grip, which produces or leaves you less grip area to use your offhand. That doesn't matter. I'm still going to present the big pad of my hand to the pad on the grip. And that's one more thing to keep in mind. With this thumbs forward grip, a lot of people will tend to want to get that thumb way forward. We recommend that you don't do that. It's more important that the pad of your hand sits on that grip and your thumb just lands where it lands. And so you'll notice that on the revolver, I still have plenty of purchase area, plenty of real estate to put my thumb. Now, a lot of people are afraid that if they're shooting the smaller revolvers, that they can actually have that thumb out past the cylinder. Unless you bring that thumb up to the top of that cylinder, you're not going to get any burns on that thumb. You may get some powder on that thumb. Just wash your hands. All right, it's not that big a deal, or wear gloves. One other thing that I would add on your grip, I think a lot of people grew up thinking that they needed to put that offhand trigger finger on the front of that trigger guard. That actually that finger needs to be down here on the grip. And here's why. When you pull the trigger of a firearm, the natural motion of that barrel, can they kind of see that? The natural motion of that barrel, I can see it from here, but it's going to be down and to the left. For a right-hand shooter, down and to the right for a left-hand shooter. Okay? That's just the natural, the physics force that barrel in that direction. What you're doing with this thumb is you're applying opposite pressure to offset that trigger pull so that you maintain a much better sight alignment all the way through the trigger pull. Okay? Because as I pull that trigger, I put pressure this way. If I apply pressure with my thumb, I correct that, I can stay on target more effectively. If you wrap that finger around the front of that trigger guard, you're going to enhance or create a bigger problem with that left-hand pull. Okay? So keep that finger around the bottom, on top of your strong hand. And for me, I have a firm grip on the gun, but I'm not squeezing the gun. I use a push-pull motion to get a tighter grip, which means when I get my grip set up on the firearm, I'm going to push forward with my strong hand, and I'm going to pull backwards with my weak hand. And what that does is it naturally creates a vise for that handgun. That motion of just pushing forward and pulling back actually tightens my grip without actually having to squeeze my fingers together. And that gives you a more stable platform. Okay?
All right, one thing I did not cover, and with revolvers, you could always, in the old school, put your thumbs over like this. With some autos, you can't do that. If you put
You
put your offhand thumb behind the
Yep.
slide, you're going to get what's called slide bite.
Looks
I
like
used
this.
to say you'll only do it once. I actually met a guy who'd done it 3 times. But
He's
yeah,
from
generally
Tennessee.
you only do that once.
Related to you?
Probably.
Is that your uncle who
If
was
he's
on there
from
last time? I'm
Tennessee,
sorry.
then obviously he's related to me, right? So, but yeah, so just you don't want to cross the thumbs. It's not the best grip anyway for accuracy and so forth, but you'll also get slide bite. And again, you should only do that once. So.
Any questions? Anything we need to address while we're here?
All right, so if you got any comments on any of that, just chime in or just send us an email.
Yeah.
You can email us at downrange@therangestl.com, or if you really want to complain, it's Phil, P-H-I-L, @therangestl.com. If he doesn't answer fast enough, you can email Sam at sdavis@therangestl.com. They both will be happy to address any of your questions and complaints.
Those
So.
are-
I will forward those on to Ron.
So keep in mind that complaints about how the hosts look will go unanswered. So not a whole lot we can do with that.
That's why we don't ever answer any.
All right, let's move on. Lastly, 3 common mistakes that CCW holders make. So
Yeah.
you came up with these. You want to address that? So shoot.
Well,
So-
it's just from all the other stuff that I watch and read, I kind of concurred with some of the other findings. But I think people get their CCW and there's a couple of things that happen. Number one, they're excited because they just went through this process. They got to shoot
Right.
their gun. They're legal. There's something kind of exciting about that, right?
Right.
Number two, something that's new to them, so they don't have a lot of experience with it, don't really necessarily know how to act. I remember when I got my CCW, when I first put that gun on and went out in public, I'm like,
You walked around like this all the time?
yeah, where's my gun? Everybody knows I'm carrying a gun. So anyway, so these are kind of 3 things that I see a lot of people do, okay? So number one.
So number 1 is they wear an outside the waistband holster or not the proper holster, or the gun's just too big for their clothing attire, and you end up with a nice print here.
He's carrying a gun.
So, oh yeah, and this is an outside the waistband
Yep.
holster. That's what it's made for. It's not made for concealment. But even if I just put it down and I stand like this, and I'm just standing normal, you can see obviously there's something underneath my shirt. So yeah, that's
Yeah, my
one of those
5-year-old
things
granddaughter
of-
would go, he's got gun.
Yeah, exactly. So get the right holster, get the right firearm, because if you're carrying a concealed gun, it should not show that you're carrying a concealed gun.
That's correct.
Now, I will note this, that sometimes if you're reaching or stretching in a certain direction, your gun may occasionally print. It's not a big deal,
An
right?
occasional print because of
Yeah.
the motion is one thing. Constant print
Exactly.
is a no-no. Don't do that.
Yeah, because that just is advertising I have a gun. Number one, somebody's going to get worried, call the cops. You'll have to talk to them.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a crime, but you'll have to have a conversation with them. But you also don't want the bad guy to know when he walks in, if he's paying attention and really looking at everything, he's like, oh, well, that guy's got a gun, so if I'm going to
He's
shoot
first.
people, I got to shoot him first, right? So, yeah, you want the bad guy, when you're carrying concealed, to be surprised that you
Yep.
have one.
And there are a
So-
number of ways to overcome the print. Obviously, the right holster. Don't carry a big 44 Magnum.
I like 44 mag.
I
That's
do
a great
too.
round. So-
I like, if you're going to carry concealed, and it's
It should be
basically going to be a
concealed.
drop. Yeah, it should be concealed. That's number one.
All right?
Number two. Hey, guess what? Don't tell anybody. I'm carrying a gun.
You're carrying a gun?
So, I
Is
mean,
that
that-
safe? That was completely ad-lib too, so.
If you're carrying a gun, that doesn't mean everybody needs to know you're carrying.
Again, nobody needs to know.
The only time anybody should ever know that you're carrying that gun is when you need that gun, right?
Right.
If you advertise that you're carrying a firearm, again, you're inviting upon yourself any number of negative.
Some undue attention, whether it's from
Yeah.
a bad guy or from authorities and so forth,
Yeah.
so.
So there's no need to advertise. You're not Dirty Harry. You're not a cop. You're not catching bad
Do
guys.
your wives know where you carry?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if I'm carrying and my wife's not, she knows which firearm I have and where it's at.
Yep. All
Because
the
if
time.
something happens and she needs to use it, she needs to know exactly where to go, so.
And that for me comes just with consistency. When I'm carrying concealed, it's always in the same spot.
Yep.
And
Me
9
too,
times
for
out
the
of 10,
most
it's
part.
the same gun.
So.
So you don't need to advertise. Okay? Doesn't make you cool. Not smoking cigarettes makes you cool.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Not anymore.
Same
so.
concept. Just don't tell anybody. All right.
So that was number 2. So number 3.
Number 3 is going to be getting your CCW, getting the right holster is all well and good, but it does absolutely nothing for you if you don't carry that gun every day and if you don't train with that gun. Right? I have a
Absolutely.
baseball bat in the closet at my house. I cannot hit a baseball to save my life. Okay?
What about softball?
No, can't
What
hit
if I throw it really slow?
No, I'll shoot it. I can shoot it.
So I had this conversation with a 20-year veteran police officer yesterday who has trained tons of officers, civilians as well, and he talked about the fact that even in the police world, they do not train enough under stress. They qualify, they can take the firearm, they can put rounds on target, so forth, but they don't train under stress, they don't train in odd environments, in odd body positions and things like that, and that is so essential because when that actually happens, that adrenaline dump happens and all those things that go with it, and your ability to use your fine motor skills just goes away.
Yeah.
So we actually had this conversation yesterday about this, so yeah, I completely agree with you on that. You've got to...
You have to train, and training doesn't mean, and we love it, and we do it as well because we want to make sure our stance is good, our sight alignment's good, that our grip's good, that our trigger press is good, that we're doing all those necessities, all those fundamentals, all those basics are solid. That I'm not thinking about them; they just happen, right? And you develop that by standing. But if you really want to be able to use that firearm in a bad situation, you need to train with somebody screaming gun, with loud noises, with low light, with movement, with having to do reloads, with having to overcome failure to feeds, any number of malfunctions that you might have with that firearm. So if you and you don't have to do it every day. You know, we're not Green Berets kicking indoors, or Green Berets don't kick indoors. Rangers kick indoors. But you don't have to go to that level. But you need to be, once, twice a year, getting serious about that.
You've got to have a level
gun.
of proficiency, period, and the only way to do that is to train and practice. So, and if you want to see sort of what that adrenaline dump is like in a situation like that, you can come out to the IDPA, the USPSA stuff that we do, because you're getting timed and scored, so you get a little bit of that stress induced upon you. And the first time you've done it, I mean, Phil, I think you and I had the conversation a year or two ago about the first time you ever did that, how it's like, I can't change my magazine, right? Everybody has issues. It's like, I've changed that magazine 1,000 times, but yet under stress, it just all went away. So that just happens, and that's one of the reasons we do the training that we do, and what we teach here is to help you overcome that. So.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So.
I mean, running around shooting your gun is fun.
So, and you learn from watching other people do it as well. So.
Exactly. So anyway, I think that kind of wraps it up for the.
Well, we're still waiting on your rant.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it actually. It's and I love our guests. I'm not picking on any guests, but and it doesn't apply just to the gun industry. It applies to everything. And everybody out there knows this guy or this gal. They just can't be told anything because they already know everything.
Yeah, that's called a teenager. I've got 2 of them in my house. So
I'm just saying, don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. The truth is, you know more than most people that I know. Does that make sense? You know a lot, but I've never come into a situation where I've talked to you about something or Phil, I've seen Phil, with a little more experience and coming from a different angle that you haven't sat down and said, that's a good idea, or I didn't ever think about it that way, versus, yeah, I knew that already, or you can't teach me anything, I know it all.
No,
so don't be that guy. Yeah. And that applies to all aspects of your life. I'm not just talking about firearms.
So you're not talking about Phil, is somebody talking about Sam or AJ? Who are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, the point there, I guess, is life, you're always growing or you're dying, so have an open mind, learn. And and we may show you a technique that you decide, yeah, that doesn't work for me. That's fine. But no harm, no foul. But I guarantee you, you will not come to a course here that you will not learn something. So, so that's just when the way life should be.
When you get out of bed in the morning, no matter what your life is like, you should always be looking for opportunities to learn from those that are around you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Live at the Range. We'll be back next week at the same time, as soon as we can find somebody else to operate the equipment, because Phil's going to be out. So We got to figure out how to do that. Oh, Sam just raised her hand. Thank you, Sam. That's fantastic. So Sam will be running the audio equipment and the video equipment next week, but we'll be back with another great show. Meantime, if you got questions, you can come by 14803 Manchester Road, look us up online, therangeSTL.com, or you can call Sam at 636-220-1300. Thanks for joining us. Be safe.